I can't resist putting the little videos in of these fishermen here every morning as they go by, coming in from the night. Steve Ray here. I'm going to introduce my friend Amr Shahada from Best Tours. He does all of our trips with us. We're partners here, and he's the best. I want him to introduce himself.
Good morning. Amr Shahada from Nazareth. We are honored to host another pilgrimage of Steve and Janet Ray, this time with an additional element to all his trips, a roll-up, and we are...
And there's your name right there, Amr. Best Tours.
I don't even remember how many we've done together.
About
so far.
60.
About 60 trips together. And we are looking forward to more and more of partnership for a successful pilgrimage for everyone. They're struggling, and that's when they became from a strict Catholic order to
come here and read that passage. That's what we're going to read today, the Beatitudes at Mass. It says, Jesus went up a high mountain and sat and taught the people. Ding, ding, what should that bring to your memory? What other high mountain did someone go up on and then come down and teach the people? Mount Sinai. Moses went up on the mountain, he met with God, then he came down, he sat, and he taught the people. It says he took his seat. That says Jesus went up the high mountain and he sat and taught the people. Jesus is the new Moses. Remember I said yesterday in Deuteronomy 18, I will send a prophet from among your own people, and when that singular prophet comes, listen to him. This is that prophet, and he is now reinterpreting the law. He said in the law it says this, but I tell you, and he's now reinterpreting the law. In the Old Testament, all you had to do to be right with God and your fellow man is not to kill anyone. Do not murder. Now you have to love your enemies. Much harder. In the Old Testament, all you had to do to keep a right relationship with your wife is to not commit adultery. Now you have to love your wife. So that it's the other side of the coin. The Jews couldn't obey the law and keep it because they didn't have the grace. We now have much more requirements, but he's given us the sacraments and the Holy Spirit to indwell us so that we're able to live up to those requirements that he's given us. So think of this as being the new Moses, giving you the new law, teaching you the new law. The other thing I would say is that I don't think Jesus went up on top of the mountain. If you go to an orchestra, do you go with an orchestra up high and you're sitting down low looking up at the orchestra, or is there an orchestra pit and you're all sitting up above looking down? I think that's what happened here. Jesus went up the mountain, but not all the way. The people were sitting up on the mountainside, and he was down on the lower side talking up to them like in a theater. When you go to places like old Roman theaters and Greek theaters, are always on the water, and they're always facing the water, so that the speaker down below has the water at his back and he speaks up to the crowds. This November we're taking our regular St. Paul cruise, and we'll be in Ephesus. And I'll have everybody sit on the top seats of the 24,000 seat theater in Ephesus, the Grand Theater it's called. And I'll stand down below and talk to them, and they'll be able to hear me just as clear as if they're in the front row, because the breeze takes the voice up. That's what happened here. Jesus could speak to all these people because he used the technology of his day. If you come up here at night, you can hear the fishermen out in the middle of the sea talking to each other. You can still hear them talking because of the breeze. So just a little interesting tidbit for you. See, another bus just came up behind us, and I know what they're saying. Darn, darn. We just came down that beautiful sidewalk. Wow, look at that. And here's our Mass site for this morning at the Mount of Beatitudes. Everybody's getting settled in. The priests are getting ready. And this is the view that we have looking out over the Sea of Galilee. Back over to the city of Tiberias where we just came from. And we're ready for Mass.
Well, since we're waiting on everybody, why don't the four of us take a picture together? How'd that be?
Lord, you alone, the Most High, Jesus Christ, with the Holy Spirit, in the glory of God the Father. Amen.
Let us pray.
O Father, through your Son,
I love sharing my vocation story, but my vocation story to me doesn't end with my ordination, because I feel like God continues to speak in my life in different ways, and I'm really grateful for that. Both my parents are Catholic, and they're from Montana, and I was born in Chicago to them, and they raised me in the faith. And but I was like most kids, probably. I like playing outside, and I like guns and other stuff like that. Like a boy, I like to hunt and fish. And
so my story, I would have to say, really begins at my baptism. I was baptized in St. Mary's Church in Holliston, Massachusetts. And my mother did something for me. I'm the youngest of 3 children. I have 2 older sisters. And my mother did something for me that she did not do for my 2 older sisters. And that was, after I was baptized, I think the word that she uses is dedicated, or gave me as a gift to Our Lady. She took me over to the statue of Our Lady and basically presented me to Our Lady. Now, I didn't know that growing up. And providentially, I happened to have a roommate at West Point who belonged to the Church of Christ. So he saw me getting interested and starts challenging me on some Catholic things, asking me about Mary and things like that. So, again, I'm doing my best to be an honest person, I'd say.
This is the headwaters of the Jordan River that flow out from underneath this rock at Caesarea Philippi, where Jesus said, "You are rock, and on this rock I'll build my church, and the gates of hell," right there, "will not prevail against it." Here's our folks here at Banyas, Caesarea Philippi of Matthew 16. There's the cave. Gates of hell. Temple used to be built right in front of that. The god Pan was worshipped here. How the city got the name Banyas. And here we are. I just gave my talk on Peter and the rock, the keys. And now we're seeing the place. Walk 20 miles in a day was the average. And we went at least 40 or more miles here, so it's a long way. So when you're reading the Bible and I see Caesarea Philippi, I say, well, why? I say to myself, why would Jesus go all the way up there to say that? First of all, he's leaving the Jewish communities around the western shore of the Sea of Galilee, and this is all pagan territory. There's no Jews up here. And so why would Jesus go and leave that and walk 20 miles in a day was the average? And we went at least 40 or more miles here, so it's a long way. So when you're reading the Bible and I see Caesarea Philippi, I say, well, why? I I say to myself, why would Jesus go all the way up there to say that? First of all, he's leaving the Jewish communities around the western shore of the Sea of Galilee, and this is all pagan territory. There's no Jews up here. And so why would Jesus go and leave that and come all the way up here to tell them? But obviously he knew he had a message to give, and this was the backdrop. What we're going to see here was the backdrop. He was a master teacher. Teachers love to have good backdrops. How many are here teachers? You know what I mean? You like to have, maybe show them a coin. Whose image is on the coin? Jesus was doing this all the time. And this is the most magnificent backdrop to explain the papacy that you can imagine, and I hope that I can open your eyes to see that. I didn't read it anywhere. I had to discover this for myself by pulling bits and pieces and coming here. And it helped me to understand and learn how to defend the whole idea of a papacy and the head of the church and what we have in Peter. We're now driving through Druze country in the Golan Heights. Look at the crops growing on the side of the mountain. We come to a city called Masada, not Masada, and this is where we're going to have lunch, Druze bread sandwiches. Here our chef is making the sandwiches. After they make them, put them together, they bring them out here on this grill. Get them hot. Yeah, look at that, smoking.
They are wonderful.
Good. That's the Druze bread sandwich. That's the remaining part of the falafel. You guys like the sandwich? Good. Good. There you go.
I love it.
Put them away. Too much to put in one 15-minute video, so this is part 1. Stay tuned for part 2.